and we have takes. Welcome to Football Takes. Football! Yeah! Football!
So many football takes here at our new Football Takes channel that we don't stop now. We had football takes on Monday. We had football takes on Tuesday, which we ordinarily don't have. And of course, now we have football takes on Wednesday. It's Zolgad. It's Thor Nystrom, who is now, of course, part of our family here. Purple Daily, Thor on Purple, all of that good stuff. Draft expert, headed to the Senior Bowl next week. Can't wait for that. It's AJ. And Thor, let's start with you. What is your football take? College is done now, and we are getting near the finish line in the National Football League.
Yeah, always sad when the college football season wraps up, but we got the Senior Bowl coming up here and NFL playoffs, of course. And my first football take for today is, if you like the college football season this year, just get ready for next year. It's going to be even better. Ohio State, they returned Julian Sand and Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith, one of the best receiver prospects that we're going to see enter the NFL in a decade or so. Texas, Arch Manning comes back. They got Cam Coleman in the portal, who was the other big receiver that year when Jeremiah Smith came out, like 1A, 1B. Got Hollywood Smothers, Rayleigh Brown in the portal. They're absolutely psyched. Trevor Gooseby was going to be a first-round left tackle. He goes back to Texas. Oregon gets Dante Moore back. Oklahoma gets John Mateer back. Even a team like South Carolina, like a mid-tier SEC team, get Lenora Sellers back. They get Nick Harbor back. They get Dylan Stewart back, their stud edge rusher. You look through the rosters next year, Georgia stacked, Oregon stacked, Notre Dame stacked, A&M stacked. Michigan's going to be much improved. Indiana, we just assume every year they're going to be awesome. So how do they fit into this, defending their championship and everything like that? This draft class is down, right? The next year's draft class is going to be really, really good. Well, what does that tell you about the talent in college football? Right, you have a down draft class. Typically, that means a lot of guys have gone back to school. That is what we have here. One of the lowest early entrant lists, smallest that we have seen head into the NFL draft. Because of that, you have all these different NFL caliber players going back to college, and I think that's going to set the stage for an amazing 2026 season.
Is that going to continue now, too, because of the fact that players, especially star players in college, are really well compensated? Is this the beginning of something, or are we going to see it year by year as far as early entries going into the NFL draft?
This is what it's going to be going forward, I believe. Last year at this time, sitting here, if we would have been talking about that draft class, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders as a potential top 10 pick, right? And then you look at this spring when Texas Tech convinces Brendan Sorsby to go back to school, sign with them in the transfer portal. They gave him $5 million or so. Sorsby for 1 year is going to get more in college than Shedeur Sanders' entire rookie contract. And I could give you a million different examples of this. Bo Nix, in the old paradigm, Bo Nix would have come out the year before, and he probably would have been an early day 3 pick. But instead, he goes back to school, gets compensated the same year 1 NFL money, builds himself up into a first-round pick. You see this over and over again now. Dante Moore got a huge bag to return to Oregon. Phil Knight was happy to open up the purse strings for that. So, yeah, I think this is the new normal that we live in.
That is incredible. So give me your, off at this point about 2026 college football season, give me your top 5 teams. Like, who do you think are the top 5 teams as we start next season?
I would go Texas number 1. I just think they have a ludicrous amount of talent. They had such a good portal class when they already knew they were going to get Arch Manning back, and when they got the really good news about their left tackle. So I would put them number 1. I would go Ohio State number 2 with Smith, Bo Jackson, their running back. I love that his name is Bo Jackson and that he's a running back. It's just great. But they have so much young talent there at Ohio State, and a lot of those guys going back. So I'd have them number 2. Maybe Oregon number 3 with Dante Moore back. I think I'd probably do that. 4, I would probably say Georgia. And then I might go A&M 5. You'd have an argument for Notre Dame there. Might have an argument for Oklahoma there. Maybe even an argument for Michigan there. But yeah, the top 10, top 12 teams in college football, you head into next year, you have a lot of strength on those rosters. So I'm just fascinated to see that the way that it plays out next season.
Mm-hmm. So who's your way too early national championship game and national champion? Is Texas going to be the top dog?
I think if you were just to put money on one long, or this wouldn't be a long shot. I guess it'd be the favorite outcome. But if you were just to put your money on one, I think it had to be Texas against Ohio State. If you were to play the chalk there, those two teams, man, talk about a Colossus rosters heading into a season. They both those teams just have so much talent. So I would put those two teams. And I believe, if I am remembering correctly, they play once again early on in the 2026 season, just like they played early on in the 2025 season. So we're going to see a potential 1 versus 2 very early on. And of course, the loser of that game is going to look to rebuild sort of their playoff resume. Texas wasn't able to last year. So we'll find out, who this year. But yeah, both those teams just look awesome.
Age, let's go to you next. What is your football take?
I want to preface this take with the player I'm about to harp on, I think is a fantastic player. I think I would trade the Vikings quarterback in a heartbeat if it was a 1-for-1 to have this guy be the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And I really think he is one of the best in the world. But Josh Allen simply does not get enough hate. And I say this because he had multiple turnovers, and based on his performance, I think you could argue he was the predominant reason as to why they lost this past weekend. Yet I see the next morning talking heads on some of the flagship shows for ESPN saying that his offensive line is the reason why he fumbled the ball. He threw multiple errant passes in key positions. Earlier in the season, he had a 2-point conversion that he just led his receiver. I believe it was Khalil Shakur, led him about 5 feet ahead of him, should have won that game, didn't. Now you lose seeding. But this past weekend, Josh Allen loses the game, is coming up on the age of 30 with 0 Super Bowl appearances for being the reigning MVP. And I'm seeing, he's got to keep his head up. You got to feel so bad for him. Where is his energy and condolences when guys like Lamar Jackson fall short in the playoffs? I don't understand why, and I understand he's got the movie star, superstar wife, Haley Steinfeld. He is likable. He's done podcast appearances, and he's a very likable guy. He does the funny TikTok stuff with the Buffalo Bills on social media. He's not rising to the occasion. If you are this pedestal quarterback, I need the actual the compliments are there when he does perform well. But when he has bad games, it's okay to say that he has to be better. It's okay to say that he messed up and he's the reason why his team lost. It's okay to hold him to that standard of being a top 5 quarterback, top 3 quarterback in the world, where I just don't feel like that same energy and it's very contradicting where you compare one to another. Like last year, I think you could have argued that Lamar Jackson should have been the MVP. I understand Josh Allen's point. Absolutely understand it. But when you go and do stuff like in the offseason, complaining about the tush push, and then you run that about as successful as the Philadelphia Eagles did all this season, using it to your benefit, and you still fall short in the playoffs, in a playoff bracket, if you look at it, Bo Nix is your opposing quarterback, and then on the other side, Drake May, up-and-coming Drake May, or CJ Stroud is your road to the Super Bowl. And you still couldn't get it done. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson in your way. This was about as easy of a road in my mind for Josh Allen to get to the Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills, and he still couldn't even get to the conference championship game. I think that he is a fantastic player, but it's okay to criticize and spew a little more. Hate's probably the not word, but just hold him to the right standard. Hold him and have him be accountable, because this coddling of a professional athlete who's coming up on the age of 30, I can't stand it. I just simply cannot stand it.
Yeah, he's probably inoculated from criticism in a way that some of you mentioned the Lamar Jackson one, and you have a lot of comparisons with that. And it seems like the criticism of Jackson after some of the playoff exits is a bit more pointed than with Josh Allen, and sort of the ancillary, whether you call it excuses or circumstance that people toss out with the Josh Allen stuff. But yeah, I agree from over the weekend of like that. If Josh Allen plays like Josh Allen normally does, the Bills are still playing right now. Mm-hmm. And there was some haphazard play there by Josh. And, this is where people get into the argument of the Brandon Beane against McDermott. Is it the fault of the roster not having enough talent around? Is it the development? Is it the selecting of the guys? Is it the game plan? Like, whatever it is. but you're playing haphazard football, trying to put on the Superman's cape, and you're scrambling around with the ball out there like the loaf of bread. That was the one that I thought was particularly egregious, where he's just inviting the defender to swipe it out. But it wasn't the only poor play that he made in that game, to your point. And if you're going to get the benefit of the doubt from all the announcers because of how great you are, you probably shouldn't also be inoculated from criticism of your performance in the most high leverage positions.
I just want this clipped and make sure it gets out on several platforms so Bills fans can find it. That's what I want.
They're going to hate me. They're going to hate me.
God, you're going to be a lightning rod. You are going to be an absolute lightning rod.
The thing is, you don't even have the excuses of, he has to rely on himself because he doesn't have a run game. James Cook led the league in rushing.
James Cook's great.
His receivers were questionable, but you're right about the run game.
But I would like to think that a perennial quarterback like himself, and I think he is fantastic. I would love him in purple. But we just need to hold him to a certain standard and not coddle him after a loss like that. Their defense, I think, is just fine, more than capable of being able to win. And now, because of that end of the half fumble and some other errant throws, multiple turnovers, I'm forced to watch Jared Stidham play in a conference championship game because Josh Allen couldn't get the job done.
Mackey predicted that the Broncos are actually going to win the game against the Patriots, which is, to me, a nightmare. Like,
oh my gosh,
you can hate the Patriots all you want, and I totally get that, right? But just as far as a viewer goes, I want Drake May. Like, do I want Jared Stidham? It might be Jared Stidham against Sam Darnold. All due respect to both of them. So I have I would love Drake May against Stafford. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I know that again, the Patriots are despised. I tweeted jokingly, "Hey, it's good to see the Patriots are finally back." And fans were like, "Screw you! They were just," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It was sarcasm." But yeah, Thor, I don't know about you, and there was a time where I loved the underdog stories, but what I've learned is, especially like in the Super Bowl, give me the best talent available, like for the best game, because I feel like if the Broncos get past the Patriots, I don't see Jared Stidham winning a Super Bowl, and I think we could be in for a long Sunday afternoon or evening.
Yeah, I agree with that. Heading into the playoffs, this is before the Bo Nix injury, of course, but the two prohibitive favorites to win the Super Bowl, it was the Seahawks and the Rams, which was interesting, and the AFC team, I think it was the Broncos, it was like a tier down, and then they were the first one on the odds boards so everyone has expected the NFC team in any iteration is going to be a prohibitive favorite in the Super Bowl against the AFC team. Sure. But obviously this makes it worse with Bo Nix getting swapped out here for Jared Stidham. That's a pretty fascinating matchup. That New England team played about as bad of a schedule and had about as easy of a path to get here as you'll see in the NFL. Yep. And then now you get the backup quarterback for Denver. But of course, the defense really, really good there. And you have to travel across the country. Yep. So we'll see. But Mackey, I can't necessarily say I disagree with that because I don't see the Stidham or the Knicks to Stidham. I don't see that as some enormous drop off. I think Stidham has I think Stidham has a better arm than Nix. Nix certainly is more mobile, right. And he's a better processor for sure. But like qualitatively, I don't think it's like a drop off the shelf like some of these other situations might be.
Interesting. Well, so who do you have on Sunday, on Championship Sunday?
I might go with Mackey on this. I might take the Broncos. It just feels like a great, like you're in a position to ambush someone when you're the number one seed and you have the best defense and you're at home and you get to bring them into altitude and they have the young quarterback and you're tossing this nasty defense against them. I think I'm gonna go Denver. I think I'm gonna go Denver against the Rams. I think I'm gonna say Rams Denver.
I hope it's the Rams.
I do.
But I mean the Seahawks are a great story. So like if that one goes to Seattle, I'm like, okay. Again, Jared Stidham in the Super Bowl. And people are drawing the Jeff Hostetler comparisons. But Hostetler, I believe, had been a starter back in the day. Like that was a different day. So anyway, but
Hostetler and Foles, we've had some back in the day.
Yeah. But Foles was also a starter at one time. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Stidham has never been like a full-time starter, right? Like Foles was
NFL.
Yeah, because Foles was the starter in Philadelphia. Then I think he signed with the Rams. Is that right? To be their starter. It went south. It didn't go well. But my point was, these guys had some starting experience. I digress. All right, here's my hot take.
Okay.
I believe that the Los Angeles Chargers have finally got it right when it comes to Justin Herbert. And I believe that Justin Herbert very well could be an MVP frontrunner next season as long as Mike McDaniel. So Mike McDaniel has said, I'm going to take the OC job unless I get a head coaching job. He dropped out very wisely of the Cleveland job, Chase, which I agree with completely. Because if he goes with 2 failures, I think he's done. So I think he looked at Cleveland and he's like, they're bozos. And he's right about that. But if Mike McDaniel ends up, as we expect, being the Chargers OC with Herbert, I mean, I still think that Herbert has a ton of talent. And you know, his previous OC, who just got fired, who was Jim Harbaugh and John's longtime confidant, Greg Roman, he loved to run the ball. He passed a little bit more. But I think that Mike McDaniel with Herbert is going to be a great combination. Now, the postseason thing, I got to see Herbert play well in the postseason to say, okay, he's going to win a Super Bowl. I'm not there yet. But don't forget, MVP voted on after the regular season. So if you bomb out in the playoffs, it's not an issue. And I think in the regular season, I think Justin Herbert and Mike McDaniel could be a hell of a combination together.
I totally agree with this, and I will add for our fantasy football players out there, don't wait too long to take Omari and Hampton in your summer draft. That guy needs to be
summer draft.
Yeah, that guy needs to be a first-round pick. You playing in that Mike McDaniel system that has been so good to running backs, and obviously Harbaugh, he's that leans towards the run game anyway. And then next year you're getting back your 2 offensive tackles, the injuries to which essentially submarined your season. In addition, LA needs to improve their interior offensive line. I think it makes all the sense in the world for them to use their first-round pick on the top guard in the class, a kid named Ione from Penn State, Ola Ione. You get that kid. You get your tackles back. Now you have one of the NFL's best play callers. Justin Herbert is going to look like a different quarterback next year. And Omari and Hampton will look like a different running back, right? I expect that Chargers offense to be much, much improved next year.
And Joe Alt was in 2000, 2 years ago, right? In the McCarthy draft, Joe Alt was the 4th or 5th pick by the Chargers in that draft, correct?
Yeah, 5th, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. If you get that and a guy in McDaniel who understands, embraces the passing game a bit more, like I just think that Herbert's talent has been to a certain degree. So he gets some fault for this too. I'm not absolving him. I think Herbert's talent has been a little bit on the wasted side, and I think this could fix that. All right, Thorsky, let's get to your next football take.
Well, I was only just going to say to button that last one up, Joe and John, both from Columbia Heights, Minnesota. You know those guys are made of the right stuff.
And they had he had a brother that played for the Gopher hockey team. I believe his name was Markle, right? Age.
That sounds.
Do you remember that back in the day? Big defenseman, football player.
Yeah, he looked out of place on the ice.
It's what we got in the water around here.
Exactly right.
Yeah, just churning out all these athletes around here.
It's incredible, man. There was a time where we did not, when I was a kid, I don't remember the fountain, the spigot being turned like now. It's unbelievable, the amount of quality athletes sort of across the board too, right? Like this was never a basketball state. It is now.
Yeah, and sending guys to the NFL every single year, and of course we got hockey on lock. But
right, yeah,
put some respect on Minnesota's name. That's really my
damn
take.
right.
Yeah,
damn right. Okay, let's go back to you for your football take.
My last one here is, of course we brought up the NFL draft before, and 1 week from now I will be in my home away from home, Mobile, Alabama, Hancock Whitney Stadium, watching these NFL draft prospects, Senior Bowl out there on the field. My last take for today, Ruben Bain Jr., the fabulous defensive end from Miami, who 2 days ago we saw him causing destruction as he always does on a football field. Miami ends up playing out a full 16-game season, came up just short in that national title game against Indiana through no fault of Ruben Bain Jr. Ruben Bain Jr. today, they announced that he has accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl next week. This guy who just finished a 16-game NFL-style schedule that literally just concluded 48 hours ago, a season in which he put up 9.5 sacks and 15.5 tackles for loss, and is seen as a consensus top 10 overall NFL draft pick. He is getting on a plane this weekend so he can send one message to the NFL, which is the thing he gets nitpicked for is short arms. He's about to show you his short arms. And the offensive tackles in Mobile next week, boys, you better strap up. Tie those shoes up and get a good breakfast in you, because Ruben Bain is coming out there to prove this point. It doesn't matter how short my arms are. I have destroyed one future offensive tackle after another my time at Miami, and now I'm about to destroy all of you one by one. Here's what I expect. We see a lot in Mobile. The best players that go there, they inevitably will leave on Wednesday night. If they have indeed dominated the first 2 days of practices, they leave before the last practice day, and then, of course, they don't play in the game that weekend. I think what you're going to see next week is 48 hours of abject destruction by Ruben Bain. One by one, those offensive tackles, he is going to smoke them. And then I think he is going to get on an airplane, fly back to Miami on Wednesday night, having made his point to the NFL, going to set up this draft process, lock him into the top 10.
He's going to get in the cockpit. He's going to fly that plane himself.
I am the captain now.
Thor, let me ask you this. How much question is there that he actually is a top 10 pick? Because, I mean, I know you're pretty high on him. It sounds like a lot of other people, especially at like PFF, are very high on him. Does he need to do this, like to solidify a top 10 pick? Like, is there more risk than there actually is reward?
The dimensions, the arm length, we talk about length a lot in the pre-draft process. And last year it was Will Campbell at offensive tackle. Every year you have a good player who maybe lacks arm length. And length is a thing, right? It's the thing that allows, we talk about defensive linemen and offensive linemen. The guy who has more length gets to dictate the dance, right? It's the same reason they put up reach in UFC fights or in boxing, right? Very, very important. And Ruben Bain is more than an outlier. Outlier isn't a big enough word for what it is. We have to see what he ends up measuring with the arm length. There's been some people that say it's going to be less than 30, or it's going to be a tick over 30. But you, with the arm length, but you are in problematic area where you don't have a ton of data of guys, edge rushers in the NFL over the last 40 years that have succeeded with that arm length. There are some, but it's very, very, very small list. So the physical dimensions with Ruben Bain, he needs to make that argument to the NFL through his play that this isn't going to be an issue that's going to nullify me as a guy that can potentially get back top 10 value to the NFL. And he's done it over and over again on his collegiate film. But this is what I respect so much about Ruben Bain, what he's doing. He plays this super duper long schedule. It was only recently when college players in the FBS even had a chance to get to 16 games. And NDSU fans, before you jump on me, I know that you also went 16-0 several years ago. So Indiana wasn't technically the first. I'm not going to step into the Phil landmine on that one. But after you come off the 16-game schedule where you did dominate against several future NFL tackles, for him to make that decision of, I want to get in front of this, I want to get onto the playing field against other analogous NFL prospects in front of the entire NFL in Hancock Whitney Stadium, apples to apples right in front of your eyes. I'm going to show you. You could see it on my film the last 3 years, but I want you to see it up close and personal. I think he's going to put on a show.
Who is the best example of a guy with the short arms who actually succeeded?
I mean, like, you look at different positions you could toss. Will Campbell's a guy that I didn't think would play as well at left tackle. Because of that, he was another sort of historically anomalous lack of arm size. There are guys that you can comp Bain to in the NFL that have had success. Brandon Graham is one of the ones that gets tossed out a lot. We've had unorthodox dimensions for, way back in the day, before my time. But Elvis Dumervil, remember when he came out and there was all the questions that he's too short to play on the edge.
Before your time, shut up, man. I remember when that dude was a rookie.
I even remember Elvis Gerbach, Judd.
I thought you were going to say Dick Butkus or something. That's before my time.
Yeah, well, that's definitely before my time.
Elvis Gerbach, yeah.
But like, we have the data because it sort of moors you in reality when you're looking over some of these different profiles of the guys coming into the league. You have to have sort of a thing of like, over the years, the data has suggested to us this. Just have sort of a common reality with it. But we have outliers at every position, right? We have outliers that enter the draft every single year. And so you're trying to figure out with the guys that do fall beneath the threshold, who has superpowers to overcome that. Ruben Bain's power is a superpower, and he can bend better than people give him credit for. So it's a power player that can also move side to side, and he can get lateral and flat down the line, beats you on the outside shoulder, get down and terrorize your quarterback. This guy's got a lot of tools. He's got the T-Rex arms, yes, but as someone put on Twitter, he is an actual T-Rex.
Wow. Hey, did you see that Mel Kiper's 1.0 came out today?
I haven't seen it yet. What do you got?
It came out today. I've got a couple things here. I want to tell you who the Vikings drafted and get your thoughts. But also I want to talk about the number 9 pick that he's got. So in Mel's mock. The number 9 pick to the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think would be terrible news for the entire league. But I want your confirmation or your telling me that I'm completely wrong. He's got Jeremiah Love at number 9 going
to the
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Well, Judd, I'll cut you off here even because in case you missed it on today's Thor Talks Purple, Thor did his 1.0 mock draft, and that just so happens to line up with his vision for round
even
1
better.
as well.
Okay, I hate both of you then because I do not like this thought at all. Like I would like to see one of the top 8 teams stop that from happening because Jeremiah Love, to me, if he goes to Kansas City, that is how you retool quickly.
Yeah, and they tried the first round pick on the running back 4 or 5 years ago with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They whiff on it. This one, I don't think you're going to whiff on Jeremiah Love, especially in that offense and how good he is as a receiver. So it make all sense in the world. And this morning when we did our mock draft thing, I ended up sliding him there as well. There are a couple teams above them that could prevent it. One of the ones that making a lot of connections is between Love and the Saints, who pick the one selection above. And then, how much higher could he go, right? I mean, like the Cardinals at 3 could use a running back, and there's not a lot of blue chip talent in this class. I think that's probably the earliest you could see him go.
Okay.
Number 7, the Commanders are a team that needs a running back as well. They're active, chatter around that team. They could look at Jeremiah Love as well. But I think the power alley for Love, assuming he gets by like a shocking selection, like I'm using Eric shocking, like the Cardinals taking him at 3. The power alley for Love would be 7, 8, 9 with Commanders, Saints, and Chiefs. The absolute floor for if he somehow got through there, which I don't see happening, the bus stops at 12 with the Cowboys. You ain't getting past Dallas if you get there. But yeah, I think Jeremiah Love's going top 10.
To the Chiefs scares me. Okay, and Mel had the Vikings at 18 taking, and hopefully I don't butcher his name, but you will know how to pronounce it, so that's good. LSU cornerback Mansour, is it Delaney or Delane?
Oh, Delane, yeah, Delane Island, as I call him. Well, in our mock this morning, I had Delane going 7 slots ahead of the Vikings.
Oh.
So that's what I would prefer. I think Delane is the best corner in the class.
Okay.
If he gets 18, for me, that is a really quick card turn in. In our mock this morning, I gave the Vikings Avion Terrell, the boundary corner from Clemson, who I see as behind Delane in sort of that pecking order. But yeah, Delane off the board, and I would expect it to be before the Vikings. That's where, a Terrell comes up. And then you get into the discussion, is Jordan Addison back? If they've traded him in advance, that could be a spot for a wide receiver as well. But yeah, if Delane got to 18, to me, for the Vikings, that's about the best case scenario here.
Mel's got Terrell going to the Eagles at 23.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
we had them taking Sadiq.
That's and you don't like him, right?
I think there's too much rawness in that profile to take that tight end in the top 20, I think. The athletic profile is great, and he's a good blocker. We have not seen him win down the field as much as other guys. There was a lot of manufactured touches in Kenyon Sadiq's profile. Now, the year before, that's when they had Terrence Ferguson. So the Oregon fans will argue, well, we had the inline guy, and so then he would just come in for the manufactured touch. Great. I thought Sadiq heading into this year was a first-round prospect based on the I didn't ding him for that. But this year with Ferguson gone and Oregon having this crappy wide receiver core that was also banged up, they weren't good, and then they were also injured.
Yep.
That was the scenario where Sadiq should have really taken off. And not only did he sort of not, in my opinion, he was overtaken as the best tight end on his own team. Down the stretch, the last 4 games, look it up. Like in the game logs, Jamari Johnson is the guy that they were going to and was doing damages to defenses, whereas Sadiq became an afterthought. Oregon fans will be like, "Oh, watch the game." That's just because they were putting everybody on Sadiq and no one on. I don't think so. I was watching those games, and I don't think that's what happened. It reminded me of several years ago at Iowa with Noah Fant as the consensus T1 in the draft, and then T.J. Hawkinson clearly overtaking him during the season.
Yep.
Those are my concerns with Sadiq. I still think after Sadiq leaves the NFL Combine, he is going to test so historically well for that position that in conjunction with the blocking stuff, in conjunction with some of the long plays that he's had, the explosive plays that he's had, I think that's enough to get him into the first round. I would just be reticent in the top 20.
I've always said this, and I don't know if we have discussed this or not, but I always think that the combine can be as counterproductive to teams as it is productive.
For sure.
Because they see guys in shorts doing stuff, and they're like, oh, this translates. I've never understood, just before we wrap up here, just quickly, here's one thing I've never gotten. I've never gotten the 40-yard dash. How often does a football player run a true 40-yard dash? Like, its ability to run your route and its ability, but you've got people. The last time I checked, football is played with 11 guys on both sides. So you have human beings standing in front of you. So my 40-yard dash is impeded by you. So now I've got to come up with ways to get around, right? So I've never understood this fascination with some of these metrics that are like, hey, if you're a sprinter, awesome. The 100, awesome. But this whole thing about, well, look at how fast this guy is. When's the last time you saw a player, and it happens occasionally, but, run a straight line?
Yeah, not often in the NFL does a 40-yard straight line run. Breakaway plays is about with that in linemen, and so I think the 40 is the most overrated metric when you're talking about the NFL draft. But also, I think it's the funnest event to watch on TV. So I'm not going to be like the old man, like get the 40-yard dash out of here. Like I love it. I love the props that they put out now. With the 40s and going over and under.
Rich Eisen runs it.
It's been a profitable investment for Thor over the
years.
You should
run it.
But you want me to run it? Judd, how about you come to the combine with me in late February?
I'd love to, but I'm not going to run. Like, you're in great shape now.
I don't know about that.
Well, you're in good shape now, not me right now.
We'll set up our own Thor Nystrom, Judd Zolgad combine and invite players, and any player that wants to show up and show off their athleticism, we'll train them. Right on university outside of the station.
It kind of reminds me of in Billy Madison with the decathlon, the academic decathlon at the end. That could be me against Judd. Business ethics.
If we go to the combine together, here's our testing. St. Elmo's, Steak and Shake, that little bar that everyone hangs out at. There's a great Irish pub as well. Now that's where, because I can do some beer curls there. I am all world. I am known, unlike Mark Sanchez, so it's positive. I am known in a very good way in that city for my ability to A, support the economy, and B, to wake up after a night of drinking, because you must work your sources, as Thor knows. You can't go to bed.
100%.
Those people are up. Football people, it's incredible. The ones that drink, those guys can go. And you know what you got to do? You got to go with them, because if you do, it's the only time they'll tell you what's what, because the rest of the time they're sober and they don't tell you crap.
Yeah, you got to put your line in the water where the fish are. Right.
Amen,
so you get some great information walking around these towns late at night at some of those different places. But yeah, Judd, I'll come up with sort of our the list of events for us at the next combine. I think one of them, we just drink the shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's, and the cocktail sauce. It's like the spiciest thing on earth.
Be careful. Yeah.
Maybe one of them we just do a straight shot. They put some of that stuff in a glass. We shoot it back.
I've had it before. And it is like, oh boy. And if you can't get in, because it's tough, if you can't get into St. Elmo's, there's the satellite bar. I forget. Right by it, that has the St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail. And then, of course, the best part is every year, Jerry Jones's bus.
Yes.
Jerry Jones, the Cowboys age, bring a bus.
Yeah, and you see it all around town.
They drive it everywhere.
Yeah, this time I'm going to try to flag it down as an Uber. Like, hey, I got to get to the stadium or whatever. Judd, I wouldn't say my favorite story about St. Elmo's, but 4 or 5 years ago, I was walking in there one of the nights at the combine or whatever, and you go in there during the NFL combine one of those nights, it's literally a who's who, like of who you could see literally anyone in the football universe could be sitting in St. Elmo's at that time, and you're walking through, you're going through especially if you're in one of the back ones or in the basement, they have to walk you through the whole thing, so you're just going left to right. Oh, but look at that guy.
It's like that scene from Goodfellas when he walks into the Copacabana
through the kitchen. Yeah,
100%.
That's exactly what it's like. He's not wrong.
I brush arms. I'm looking, and then to my right, a guy sitting at the end of his table, like brush arms with him. It was Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss, this guy who took over my undergrad, the University of Kansas, and destroyed our football program within 2 years. And the last year, they knew he was going to get fired. And so he gave all the scholarships to JUCO players, this is before the portal, in an attempt to save his job. And then he screwed the university for years after that, even with it. I wanted to say something to Charlie right there. I wanted to tell Charlie how I felt about his, and then it turns out years later, if you start a fight in St. Elmo's, maybe it's not the best thing for you. So I'm happy that I showed some discretion there. But Charlie Weiss, seeing him in there, my vision went red for a second.
Your Kansas program, different show, has been very up and down too.
That's true.
And Mace was going to leave for Georgia. Everybody forgets that. He took the Georgia job, and then he backed out of that and took the Gopher job eventually. But I'm going to tell you right now, let's see, Georgia or the Gophers. I don't know about that one. All right. We
love Mace.
Oh, Mace is and like so many people, Mace stayed here. I think he lives out in the burbs now, and he's retired and I guess very happy, which is great.
Shout out Glenn Mason.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, Football Takes is done. Don't forget, Thor Nystrom is all over the place. He's going to the Senior Bowl next week. He's going to the Combine, and he's also going to appear on our channels. Thor Talks Purple. I appear on Tuesday. It's always fun. This was great. AJ produces for Thor, co-host. He's awesome, and I just sort of step in here every once in a while and do my thing. But we will talk to you soon. Go Jayhawks.
Rock Chalk.